Please note that the content of this episode has explicit language and is not suitable for underage listeners.
Hi, I'm CJ, and I've done phone sex for 24 years. Let's get started. Well, like many weeks, this week had a little bit of a theme. A little bit, not too much, but a little, and that was people wanting to chat with me and talk about their wives. Like I've told you, there are several ways for me to get paid. One is for a phone call, and one is through chat. And these guys wanted to chat. So the first guy was a guy who said to me that he had some pictures of his wife, and did I want to see them? Of course I don't want to see them, but I can't tell him that. So I said, sure. And he gives me a website to go to, and I'm hesitant to go to that site just because I've never been to it before. I'm wondering, why can't he just send them to me? So I asked him, can you please just send them to me? And he said no. For some reason, I don't recall what the reason was. I thought that was kind of weird. And so I avoided going to the site for a little while and decided, okay, fine, just go. Because when you chat with someone, like I said, you get paid. And I want to get paid. So I go to the site, and he tells me where the picture is, or the video, actually. It's probably a 4-second video, and it's the back of his wife with no clothes on. Okay, whatever. So then he asks me my opinion. I say she seems like she's in good shape, and he talks a little bit about her and how he takes pictures of her and these little short videos of her. And then I decide to ask him, does she know that you're posting these online? And he says no. In my head, I'm thinking, that is a huge betrayal of trust. And if she knew, would she be happy about it? More than likely not. But at the end of the day, that's not my problem. So when I tell him that she's in good shape, he said, oh, this was a little while ago. She's gotten fatter, and proceeds to tell me that that does not bother him. He was just telling me. I said, okay. Then he asked me if I wanted to see another video, and I said yes. And it was a frontal nude shot just from her stomach to mid-thigh, which means it's her pussy. Very close up. I just sit here and wonder, how can you do this? And the thing is that without asking that question, of course, he tells me he likes it when other men look at her. So this went on for probably, we'll call it 20, 30 minutes back and forth, just those two videos. Word of caution to you all, if your partner is taking pictures of you or videos of you together or separate, you never know where they're going to end up. Even if you know, cross your heart and swear it's just for them, just the two of you, that may not be the truth. And in many cases, it's not. He was very proud of his wife. He loved that other men were looking at them. He could see how many ticks there were of men, people, could be women too, I don't know, were looking at her videos, her short videos, and he said he's not going to stop posting them. The second guy who was chatting with me is a regular. I would call him a semi-regular. He's married to a woman who is a nurse. Of course, though, he says he has taken pictures of her giving blowjobs, and he's constantly saying how hot she is, and that he gets excited at the thought of her calling a lawyer for them to get a divorce. Now, in the past, I've asked him if that was real or fantasy, and he said fantasy, but again, I don't know. I've talked to him on the phone previously, and all he cares about is his wife doing naughty things to different people. I don't think he posts these pictures anywhere. He just sends them to me and to any other phone sex operator he talks to. He gets excited by it. He loves it. He loves her blowjobs. He loves her mouth. He's constantly talking about how much he loves her mouth. He loves the idea of the possibility of getting divorced. He's kind of different. These men seem to be somewhat obsessed with the idea of men looking at their women and getting feedback from how the men feel about their significant others, or just knowing that these guys are getting off. That is a real thing. It's kind of like, to me, the lazy man's cuckold, taking pictures and posting them on the internet and seeing what other people say. It's okay if the wife or girlfriend knows about it, but most of the time they don't, and I just don't think that's right. You know me, I always say I try not to judge, but in this particular case, it's not right to post someone's pictures on there unbeknownst to them. I would never tell anybody that I'm speaking with how I feel. I just tell them you're naughty is basically what I say. And of course, some of them will say, well, how would you like it? That is a very interesting question and not one that I've had to answer, but I'm waiting for the day where someone asks me that. Like, how would you feel if, your boyfriend took pictures of you and posted them online? I don't think I'd be too thrilled. I would say it's just for the two of us to enjoy, or for him to enjoy, and it's not for anybody else's eyes. But until that time, I just go with it and say, hey, it's cool. Whatever you want, it's fine by me. So, when I started my podcast, I really wanted to say everything. And like I said, you can't unhear certain things. And I've tried to stay away from politics and whatever else people don't want to talk about. But I had a call this week that I wanted to share. I was going to stay away from it because I don't want to alienate myself from anyone, but I find it psychologically fascinating and I thought I would share. In the last, let's say 10 years, I've had received calls from people who asked me what state I live in. I tell them, and I might have mentioned to you this before, that when I tell people I live in California, a minority of callers, it stirs up a vision or thought, whatever the case may be, of who I am. They immediately think they know me because I live in California. They have many thoughts. People have, they've called me so many names. You're liberal, you're a baby killer, very adamant about the baby killer thing, and a few other things. And I don't get angry, and I don't even get frustrated, and I don't even respond. I've responded maybe out of 10 times once. I'm like, seriously, But for the most part, I just wonder why somebody would call a phone sex line to speak with a phone sex operator who typically takes phone sex calls or just calls to talk to someone, to call them names. You call a phone sex line to call a woman names. That's kind of weird, but okay. Because of where they live or what they think their political affiliation is, they think that that person, is a certain way, and it is all based on politics. So I've been called a lot of things, I don't take it personally. Even phone sex wise, I've been called all sorts of things. And for women, like I've said in previous podcasts, the cunt word is the worst word, and I've been called that on here, and I don't care. It's just a word. I don't take it personally. But this week I got a call by a guy who said he just wanted to talk to get to know me. I'm good with that because guys do it all the time. Let's talk, see if, I want to talk to you again, if I want to call you again. That is super cool. This guy barraged me with a whole bunch of questions. So he said, what do you look like? Those kind of things. Where do you live? Okay. He asked me who I voted for. I immediately thought, aha, okay, I can play this game. I'll be super calm, which I always am. I told him who I didn't vote for. It's all fine. I just take it with a grain of salt. He asked me if I thought the other person was better. I said no, we didn't have much of a choice, so I had to choose someone. And he said, okay. I couldn't tell which way he was going yet. At this point in the conversation, I wasn't sure if it was going to be a good call or a bad call. But he continued to ask me questions. At one point, he got pretty heated, and it was like a switch flipped because, I don't usually talk politics, but I answer pointed questions. And even though I know what the person wants me to say, because I can tell really quickly, this is the only time I tell the truth, my truth, about how I feel. But I don't really want to talk politics. So he got mad. And he got so mad at me, I hadn't said a whole lot to this point, really. He was just rambling on at the top of his lungs and in the most angry voice I've ever heard as long as I've done this. And even in my personal life, no joke, he screamed at me, you stupid fucking cunt. Then he said, and I laughed. Right after he said it, I laughed. Then he said that I must watch the media and listen to the media. And my response was, I don't watch the news. I don't read the news. I'm staying away from everything and have for quite a while. And he called me a liar and screamed at me again. What a stupid fucking cunt I am. And he hung up. Names don't bother me. Call me whatever you want. Whenever you want. I don't care. But I was wondering why, and I still wonder why he was so angry. I don't even know if there's a word that describes how angry he was. I've never heard the shrill screaming like that almost ever. Not even in a movie. And I've told a couple of my friends, and I said, I believe the reason why people do call phone sex lines and talk or scream at the person on the other end is because nobody else will listen to them in their real life, in their circle. Their circle typically thinks the same way they do most of the time, and they need to get out frustration and anger to someone who doesn't think the way they do. I'm not here to psychoanalyze anyone, but I've been thinking about it, going, wow, that was angry. You're such an angry person, and I feel bad for you. Don't feel bad for me. I feel bad for him. So a friend of mine said, well, are you going to block him? And I said, I don't think he'll call me back. He's a one and done. He did what he wanted to do. And now he's going to go find someone else. He's going to call someone else and keep looking for people to yell at. They'll yell at them and hang up and move on to the next person. I don't think he'll call me back. Most of the people that have called me to do the same thing, something similar than that, to yell at me or criticize me or whatever, they don't call back. Only one person, and he hasn't called me in over a year. A friend of mine said, wow, it's been a week and you're still holding on to this. It must have really gotten to you. I said, I'm not holding on to it. I'm a little startled by it. Besides the political aspect of it, I think there's something else going on in his life. I wanted to share that it's not all about sex all the time, which I've relayed to you before. People call for all different reasons. But it doesn't always bring out the best in people. Many times it does. But in this particular case, it does not. A friend of mine said, wow, it's been a week and you're still holding on to this. I'm not really holding on to what he said. I was a little startled by how he said it. The political aspect of it all, there must be something else going on, this anger inside of him. And maybe it's as simple as him not being able to discuss how angry he is with anyone. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The reason why is fascinating, but I will never know. I just thought I'd share that with you, that it's not all fun and games and sex and, lust. We hear angry and upset people as well. It can be upsetting. I have a cute caller who lives on the East Coast in his 70s. I think I might have told you about this man. He's so sweet. He wrote me the other day and he said, would you like a visitor in July? I don't have the heart to say no. I should say no, but I don't have the heart to say no. So I said, possibly, we'll see. He really wants to meet me. He says he thinks about me all the time and that he loves me, and I hope that's not true. He doesn't have any family in the States, only overseas. He goes there once a year. I don't think they come here to visit. They don't have any money. I, of course, don't have the heart to say no right out. I think that I don't want to burst his bubble. I don't like bursting anyone's bubble. What they think is, I've talked to you for so long, now we should meet. And on one hand, I do understand that way of thinking, but on the other hand, it's like, no, I'm not going to meet you. And I do string people along. That's not a nice thing to do either, but it's part of the job. And he's tried and he'll keep trying until he gets tired of me and then he'll find somebody else. So I will keep putting him off as long as I possibly can. Another call I recently got this week was from the Little Dick Loser, who I've mentioned a couple times. If you've listened to my podcast, there's Little Dick Loser who wants to get arrested. He called me telling me about his little dick and he wants me to call him names, but this time he wants to be arrested. He said he found a woman on the platform who would call the police on him. He's been trying to get arrested for a very long time, but he won't do anything to get arrested. Like he's not going to commit a crime or anything. He lives with his mother. He doesn't want to lose his job. So he called me to tell me all this. And then he said, why do I want to be in jail? Why do I want to get arrested and thrown in jail? What's wrong with me? And I said, I don't know. Maybe you want to be in a cell with someone to be somebody's bitch. He said he didn't think that was it. He just wants to be handcuffed, locked up in a cell. I said, okay. And the more we talked about him getting locked up, the more excited he got. And he was getting very excited. And he says, I'll call you when I get arrested. He, like I said, he doesn't want to lose his job and he's very concerned about that. And I said, well, good luck. I don't know what else to tell him because it's something that he wants. And I think that if you want something that badly, you should get it. I don't know how. So we will see what happens with him. He was, he resurfaced. He was away for the longest time and now he's back. And when people go away and then they come back, I think that either they can't afford it or they found somebody else. I'm not on all the time. And he says he bounces between a few girls and I'm one of them, and he likes hearing my voice and he likes getting excited by telling me these things, and I wish him much success. I'm not going to give him any tips on how to get arrested or what to do or what to say. I don't know what to say, honestly. I don't understand his way of thinking. I'm not going to, help him facilitate that, but I hope he gets what he's looking for, and I hope he gets locked up if that's what he wants. I don't know. It certainly has been an interesting week, let me tell you. I'm fascinated by all these people. But anyway, That's all for now. Thank you for listening to Secrets from a Phone Sex Queen. Everything you always wanted to know about phone sex and more. Please reach out to me with your questions and comments. And if there is a caller that you want an update on, let me know at phonesexqueen1@gmail.com. I will tell you anything. If I have an update on a caller that you find especially interesting, let me know. New episodes drop every Monday. Check me out on Facebook at CJ's Podcast and Instagram at Phone Queen 1. I don't have TikTok currently, so I'm not posting anything there. If you're listening on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when a new podcast is dropped. And until next time, stay sexy.